Joining us today for our webinar, Extending Microsoft Dynamics CRM with Integrations, Customizations, and Reporting. We'll be kicking off the webinar in just a few minutes, but I just wanted to first go over a couple of things for everyone to know. We'll be muting all of the participants' lines today, but you will notice on the right-hand navigation there is a question feature. If you have any questions or concerns during the webinar, I'm here and I'm happy to help, so please just type your message into the question box and I will address it. We'll be addressing any questions for the presenters at the end of the webinar, and if for any reason we do run out of time and we're unable to get to your question, we'll be sure to have someone follow up with you. We'll be making both the slides and the recording from today's webinar available for you to download from our website following the webinar today. We are excited to have John Zaberla and Gary Christensen here with us today. John is our Microsoft Practice Director and leads the Microsoft practice spanning areas that include Microsoft Dynamics CRM, Dynamics GP, Dynamics AX, SharePoint, .NET development, business intelligence, and project management initiatives. John's been active in the Microsoft channel for 15 years after starting his career in public accounting. Gary is our CRM practice lead and senior architect here at Emtec. Gary's been in the Microsoft VAR channel for many years, working with Dynamics CRM since its 1.0 release, Dynamics GP since release 1.0, and with Dynamics AX back to the 3.0 and 4.0 days. He's completed numerous CRM implementations, performing roles ranging from project management to developer. Gary's expertise within the Dynamics CRM platform includes expertise with configuration, report development, customization, and enterprise integrations. And with that, I'll turn it over to you, John.
Thank you, Erica. And do you have the question poll that you were going to put up?
Yep, and I'm going to put up a poll for everyone.
So right now we're going to start off just to get a general gauge as to the audience and some of your technical background, expertise, and interest for today, so that when we get into some of the presentation and demonstrations on extending CRM, that we present the right level of depth. We don't want to go too detailed if people are more interested in a bit more of a flyby, but certainly if we have a bit more of a technical audience, we certainly can get a little bit deeper. And then also at the end, if there's specific questions, we can also address those at that time. Okay. So I don't have the deck in front of me, so thank you for the introduction, Erica. And first, before we get into talking about some of the extending of the CRM application, we're going to first give you a bit of an overview about Emtec. And I'll give everyone a second to answer the poll before we get into the slide deck here. We're good on the deck, or on the poll, Erica?
Yeah, we'll give everyone just one more second.
Sure.
If you'd like to take part in the poll, and then we'll close it so you guys can see the screen. Okay, thank you.
Thank you. All right, so now we're on the deck. So Emtec, so for those of you joining today's call that are not familiar with Emtec, wanted to give you guys a quick overview about our organization and specifically our Microsoft practice. Emtec, our main mantra is we're big enough to do the work, small enough to care. So we sit nestled nicely in between the big, large consulting firms and then the local mom and pop niche specialty firms. So we've been in business over 20 years. Our corporate headquarters is out in the New Jersey area, and we have 12 locations. We have an international presence beyond the U.S. We're also located in Canada and in India. We have around 500 professionals. Over the past few years, we've achieved various recognitions, both as an organization as well as in our Microsoft practice. We've been voted as a top 100 place to work in Cranes, Chicago a few years back, and SP the 500 award we were recognized for over 17 years as well. So most of our consultants are in the 14, 15-year experience level, and we have a broad range of capabilities across all of our different applications and practices. Our real main focus has been as a technology services provider. We have $200 million in revenue each year, And we do regularly compete against a lot of the larger firms. So specifically in some of the applications, if you look over at the right side where we have a lot of our focus, we have over 1,000 different package implementations over the last several years. And our practice areas span Oracle, PeopleSoft, Microsoft, of which we'll talk more about today, Salesforce.com, IT Service Management as well, and some of the other offices you can also see down there below. So going from there and talking then more specifically about our Microsoft practice, our groups focus on Dynamics CRM, 2 of the 4 ERP products within the Dynamics space, GP and AX. We also have a SharePoint practice, and then an application development practice which both encompasses our onshore architects and developers as well as our global delivery team, which really augments a lot of our implementations in Dynamics CRM, ERP, and SharePoint. So they will do a lot of the development, the integrations, and working in tandem with our team here in the States. Additionally, we focus on a lot of integrations in web services. Some of these we'll touch on later today, but a lot of our integrations have been with CRM, with other enterprise applications spanning from business intelligence, other ERP platforms beyond the Dynamics family, SharePoint, and also listed there is Remedy BMC, which is an IT service management platform. Our Microsoft practice has been specifically recognized by Gartner AMR as Certified in Financial Services Professional Services, so those are 2 of our core industries of which we have a great deal of experience. And then our practice from a Microsoft perspective has the full capability to do managed services for all the solutions which we implement, which again will leverage a lot of our onshore and offshore teams collectively. And then all the applications in which we do our implementations, we have experience in delivering those via either a cloud or an on-premise solution. Over on the right side has a quick glance at the number of resources. And then in respect to CRM and ERP, we are a gold certified partner with Microsoft. In terms of our CRM practice, really the core value proposition that we bring to the table really flows in line with our overall Emtec mantra being the right size. So what that allows us to do is to go into engagements really with that holistic approach. So we're really going in, looking at it from a business perspective, really from a CRM technology agnostic perspective as well. We do also Salesforce.com and have other specialists within the organizations that have backgrounds in doing CRM, again, agnostically, regardless of the actual chosen technology, whether that be a CRM, a Sage, or some of the other competitors that are out there. So we go in really from that focus initially. Of course, we're going to talk more about CRM and what we do there. But as we get into the engagements and as CRM is the chosen technology, as I mentioned, we can deploy those either on-prem or cloud, have experiences in both. The depth of our team has 15 different certified professionals. The breadth, we span a lot of different areas from project management to configuration, reporting, business intelligence, doing the development and integrations, again, of which we'll be focusing a bit of today's discussion on. And our experience dates back to the beginning days of CRM. A few other aspects of our CRM practice value prop is we've been successful in over 100 different implementations. We do, as I mentioned, have that global delivery capabilities, so that allows us to scale up our teams and present a lot of different staffing models for our clients, whether that be staff augmentation, niche projects that are more technical in nature, as well as getting that right cost point by leveraging a blended rate between both our onshore and offshore capabilities. And as I mentioned earlier and stated here again, those capabilities span beyond just CRM, but a lot of the other Microsoft stack areas in which we have expertise. And then a few of our other certifications are listed there below. So that's just a quick taste of our CRM practice and some of the value that Emtec brings to the table. So from there, we'll move forward, and I'm pleased to introduce Gary Christensen. Gary's one of our resources that has been, as we mentioned, back to the beginning days of CRM. Gary's got a real long track record within the Microsoft channel beyond just CRM. So he's the right guy to really take you through some of the capabilities of the product, some of the things we've done as an organization, and I'm excited to get into some of the details here today. So Gary?
Thank you, John. I want to start out today by just kind of introducing or talking about the concept here of extending CRM. What that means really is, to most people, is tailoring CRM for unique business requirements of your individual organization. And that spans a broad range. On the one side, just going in there and putting in a few workflows and maybe putting in some dashboards, all the way up to using CRM as a development platform for vertical application. Some examples of that are CRM has been used in the past as a platform for SIS systems, student information systems, and they're not using sales, they're not using marketing or the service side at all. It's rich in that it has a built-in security model, ready-made integration with the Office products. It has the ability to quickly create tables and fields and forms and grids and dashboards and whatnot. So it's quite extendable and can be used for on extreme examples for just app development. We're going to talk about a lot of the components that allow it to span that range. Right here on this slide. So one of the things that when you talk about extending CRM is extending it with integrations to other applications. This involves one of two things, or it can involve one of two things. One is a back end or more database, or nowadays web service to web service integration. An example of that would be on CRM. If you have an account that you're working and all of a sudden they buy something, you want to have your system maybe integrate directly to an ERP product that you use in the organization, create a customer automatically behind the scenes. Another example of an integration with an external application is at the UI level, user interface level, where you can be sitting on say a customer in CRM, and if your salesperson wants to know, if you're a call center, if you have a call center operation, your salesperson is about to call that individual or that company, they want to know, geez, what support cases have been open lately, get an idea on that. They can be sitting on that account screen in the CRM and click a link that will open up a ticketing system if they're using an external separate ticketing system like Remedy, which we'll talk about a little bit later, and drill into that and look at recent cases and recent activity on that, so they're prepared for the phone call. And that's popping a window without having to log into the other application. Some of the other extendability areas are in the center here. Basically deal with the user interface too, and modifying that, adding fields to existing entities, adding new entities, adding changing the screens, changing the behavior and business logic on the screens as data is being entered, and also in the back end putting together workflows that send out a notification if somebody sells something. As an email, or create a task for somebody to start working on, the order. So that's what the center area is, and a lot of those tools are built into CRM in that they, you can use the CRM in a UI to, create those and modify and extend. In other cases, there's tools in there that require a developer, JavaScript, code or C# code. So on the right here, we've got the reporting, all right, and that covers the dashboards, that capability within CRM, the charting, and also what a lot of people don't realize is with advanced finds and exporting to pivot tables and so on to Excel, you can. There's a lot of ad hoc reporting that goes on by particularly managers, okay, of pulling data out and designing your own report when you get requests from business management. And then there's also SSRS reports, which is they're for the industrial strength reporting within the application. A couple of database layer items that we're going to talk about and components are plugins, which are at the database level fire when it's custom code that can fire, typically C#, that can fire when a record is saved, is initially created out there, is updated or deleted. And then custom workflows. Workflows within CRM allow you to allow you to add steps in there, create steps that go out there and update records, and also fairly simple updating of records. Also send emails, create tasks, create other data out there, and pause and wait for a period of time, and then check for whether a condition happened or not. And these are also fired when a record is updated, created or deleted. Custom workflows is another capability on top of that. So that's the ability to, within using C# or another, to develop your own steps that can be loaded, that can be utilized in workflows. And those steps can be as complex as you want, okay, along with plugins. They can do, a lot of sophisticated things, rolling up of totals. They can be generating records. They can be, they can also send emails too. So that's basically, a run-through of the components that we'll be talking about. Another concept I want to introduce is is customizations versus code-based. Configuration versus code-based customizations. So when you're extending CRM, there's really two different audiences that can, sets of users that can work on it and extend it. One is business analysts, okay, and empower users within your organization that with the appropriate training, they can go in and start, tweaking screens, adding and modifying workflows, creating dashboards, creating different views out there for staff, and then deploying those in the system. And there's quite a bit they can, quite a bit that can be done there, and we typically like to train our customer base too, so that there's a level of self-support that they can provide, and then they come to us for the more complex business changes that need enhancements to the product. On the other side, there's a code-based, and this is dealing with plugins, custom workflows, and some of the UI changes at the screen level that require JavaScript. And that requires a skilled developer in JavaScript or C#, also with some understanding of the data model, the CRM data model, and a good understanding of the SDK. And those resources are a little more scarce and typically booked. Okay, we have those on staff, and some of our clients have those folks on staff too. So I want to next present just kind of a span here of what business analysts typically do, what the developers would typically do, and then system administrators. Obviously, business analysts are, can maintain the system, keeping the templates up to date, adding new templates, but will also get involved in the standard workflows. Self-service reports using the report wizard within CRM, and changing views and forms and data model. Our opinion is that this box should be mostly green here. Your business analysts and power users should be able to do a lot of this themselves. Okay. Then we get into developers, which can also perform a lot of these functions and use a lot of these tools. but they're also specialized in integrations, with different integration tools, which we'll talk about a little bit later. Customizing the UI, which involves normally JavaScript, and as data is being entered, run business code logic that is hiding or showing fields on a form, doing validations and defaulting information, along with business intelligence stuff. So, and then system administrators, just user maintenance and security role maintenance. So now I'll talk a little bit about the integration options here within CRM. The main thing, or there's a product out there that Microsoft provides that called the Data Connector, Dynamics Data Connector, which will out of the box integrate CRM with the 4 Dynamics ERP products. So if you have one of those, this is one way to go ahead and get jump-started on synchronizing data back and forth. For example, as I mentioned before, when somebody turns into a customer in CRM, dropping it right into AX or GP. And sending orders, another common integration is orders created in CRM, all right, when they're approved, are submitted directly to the ERP system. Another way to do the same thing is through an industrial strength product called BizTalk from Microsoft. That has, in addition to, and that's more of a roll your own, start from scratch, roll your own integration as far as mapping, defining, the processes. For instance, moving a customer over from CRM to SAP or Oracle, and then going ahead and mapping all the fields on the customer record that you want to move over, all the data that you want to move over. And that requires a skilled developer too in the BizTalk product. Then there's some other third-party ETL, extract, transform, and load products out there. Notably, Scribe, the ones we use are, well, we use SQL, okay, but notably Scribe and a product from E1 called Smart Connect that will integrate CRM with other ODBC compliant systems, databases. And they allow you to define processes and map fields and define when a particular integration will run, if it's on a time basis or if it's triggered by an event that happens within CRM. So just a quick brief overview of integration options available and typically in use. Now with that, I want to talk a little bit about, jump into the demonstration here and talk a little bit about what we'd like to show you is an example of these 3 areas. 3 areas that I just discussed. Configuration based. All right. I want to discuss, show you business process flows. That's something that happens at the form level. It's UI, integration, and we'll show you sales stages, business flow on that. Workflows have been around in CRM for quite some time. Oh, by the way, business process flows are brand new with CRM 2013. And I want to try and highlight some of the new stuff with 2013 under the assumption that you are probably familiar or at least aware of some of the existing stuff. Workflows, like I said, have been around for quite some time. But with 2013, they added the ability to have an immediate workflows. Workflows in the past were asynchronous. In other words, when you saved a record and a workflow was triggered, it would go off into a queue and wait its turn to be executed, and it could execute anywhere from 10 seconds to 10 minutes later. We have immediate workflows now, and I have an example. I will show you that of defaulting ship-to information on a quote. And then there's business rules, something else that's new within CRM 2013. That's at the form level, and that's for applying, watching for a field change, and then running business logic. In this case, we're going to show how a field is calculated when other fields are changed. This used to be, this is now a configuration option. Okay, it used to be a code-based thing. You were requiring JavaScript, and now Microsoft has allowed us that capability within the UI, and no JavaScript developers needed anymore for certain things. So then on the code-based side, I'm going to talk about plugins, okay, which is a database level thing, and we got an auto number demo of that. Some JavaScripting at the form level, okay, and for validating, example that is the validating a state and country codes, and then a custom workflow for a that was added to a that's a step, custom step that we've added to a workflow for a renewal process for an organization. Then out of the box integrations, I want to show an out of the box one, SharePoint, and because even though it's out of the box, there's a lot of people that don't seem to be aware of it, and it's a really important and valuable tool. And then I want to show Remedy one, integration with Remedy, which is an external ticketing system that we wrote that uses web services and a UI to UI, JavaScript UI to UI. And if we have any time left over, I'll talk about the Dynamics data connector and a little bit more about what that can do. So without further ado, let's jump into the demo here.
Now the fun stuff.
Okay. This is a CRM 30-day trial environment that was loaded with demo data. And what I'd like to show you here is the sales process, okay, that is driven by a business process flow, and this is new within 2013. This is a sales process, four-step sales process, or four-stage sales process that's depicted on this bar. And for each stage, you can see a set of steps that can be defined that must be completed, or that should be or must be. The must-be's are the requireds here, or should be completed prior to moving to the next stage. What this is, this process bar is really a recipe, a visual recipe or roadmap, okay, for business process. Now this happens to be tied to opportunities. You can put this on. You can have business process tied to customers. You can have business process tied to cases for working a case from inception to completion. It can be attached to any entity or multiple entities. Some of the other characteristics of it too are you can move once you've completed, once the individual working this opportunity has completed the first stage, they can move to the next step, and we get a little flag here that moves that shows you what's the current stage that this opportunity is in. You can also jump backwards and forwards and see what steps need to be completed, or what data has already been entered in a prior step. Okay. One of the other things, so going back to this too, you see there's with these required fields, there's a gating process in here that's that's been applied that you can enable. Now another nice thing about this that they've added is the ability to, well, before we go into that, let's take a quick look at how you set one of these up.
And anybody could do this, not even with code, right? It's all you.
Yeah, this is again, this is a configuration-based customization or extension that typically you wouldn't have all your users doing, but you would you'd focus on maybe a business analyst or two or a power user and assign them the responsibility for creating and maintaining these. So you can, there's a way to tie this to different, tie it to different entities. So if your business process encompasses opportunities and say quotes, a quote is part of the, you got to create a quote as part of the business process. You can add, add a separate entity. You can add a separate stage here. Okay, you can give it a research. You can give it a category for reference purposes, and then you can add a step here, and that's selecting, say, in this place, where you want to collect budget information. Okay, in this new stage, and then you can mark that piece of data too as being required or not. So, very simple to go in here and update if you, want to delete a record or delete a step from the stage. Very easy to do. So let's go back now and we'll just skip that. I want to show you another capability here, and that is to switch processes. So say you get in the middle of stage one, you find out that, oh, this is a $100,000 deal. Okay, you can go over and switch to a more sophisticated business process here. This particular process has 6 steps, and that can be used for larger deals, a little more rigorous. The first 2 stages, involve the opportunity entity, and this is showing the opportunity form down here, where the individual is collecting data. And then when we get to ready to move on to the negotiation stage, okay, this stage requires creating a quote. So you can, right here it's showing you that, okay, you need to create it. We need a quote here. If there's one out there already tied to this customer, it'll show quotes here that you can tie into this opportunity. Otherwise, what we're going to do is we're going to create one. And then, so as you see now, we're looking at a quote, and we're looking at the quote form here below the process bar. So you can start filling in the information on the quote, and then the important thing here that is at some point in time save it. Okay, and then this quote is automatically attached to this opportunity. And also, if you know some of the other stages here, we've got the next step after this is the creating an order. Next step after this is creating an invoice, and then the last stage is creating an opportunity. And in that, you go in so that you come full circle, and in the set a close date and its total amount. So the message here is that business flows can span multiple. Don't need to just stay with work on one record. They can span multiple records in CRM. One other thing too that I want to mention here. So that's pretty much what I wanted to demonstrate on business processes. The only other thing too is that, by the way, the business processes are activated by security roles, so you can tie them to a security role so that only salespeople can run these business processes on opportunities. All right. So next thing I wanted to, just going back to here real quick, I want to talk about workflows here. And the power of the real-time workflows that CRM added. Now, this address here was automatically defaulted, okay, when I hit save on the quote. And this came from the customer. Now, this is not part of the normal quote creation of a quote. When you create a quote, normally you just get the name of the customer defaulted. and the currency and the list price. Okay, shipping address typically isn't, but if you wanted to do that, okay, we put together a simple workflow that did that, and you could do this back in any of the prior releases of 2013, prior to 2013 also. The difference is that in the prior releases, when I hit save up there, okay, to save the quote, that workflow that would default this information would have gone into a queue, and like I said, run 10 seconds or up to 10 minutes later. And when this screen came back after the save, this information would not have been there. With the immediate workflows, that business logic runs immediately when the record is saved, and so when the screen is redrawn here, okay, it goes out there and it'll find the data on the database and display it. So any immediate workflows, when you hit save or of a record and that record stays on the screen, all right, whatever workflow, immediate workflows ran and updated data or did whatever, it happens immediately. So it's a nice, powerful feature for defaulting fields and adding business logic so immediately, so that the salesperson can, right away verify the ship to address is correct or change it. The other thing I want to show you, the last thing here is business rules as far as the configuration changes go. On that, we're going to look at and go into the, I got a little example here. We're going to go back to the opportunity. Okay, a lot of customers that we run into, they want a weighted revenue value out here. What that is this is a custom field that we added. It's not part of the out-of-the-box system. It's just the forecasted revenue times the probability. And they use this for their sales forecasting and pipeline forecasting. However, in the past, adding this field is duck soup, okay, for business analysts to add to the entity into the form. The issue comes in is adding the calculation logic behind the scenes. That requires that in the past, up to 2013, has required JavaScript developer to go in there and put the code in that when this field changes or that field changes, calculate the weighted average. We're going to go into the tool now and edit the form. Go into the form designer very quickly here. And this is a tool that is used for adding fields to that the opportunity form. It's also for rearranging fields and changing the appearance of it. They've also added now a nice little capability of business rules. What a business rule is it's a condition or set of conditions that once they're met, okay, will fire a group of actions. In this particular case, we're checking to see if the forecast amount contains data and the probability contains data. And if that's the case, we calculate the weighted average. What you can do here is you can select fields on the form. You can select operators on those fields. And for instance, you can go and check an amount to be greater than another amount, okay, or be equal to a fixed value. And then add multiple, as you see here, ending conditions. And then you can add multiple actions too. Some examples of the other actions are you can show an error message. So up here you can check to see if a value exceeds a limit, okay, for a particular case, or put a validation in and issue an error message, okay, if something fails a validation. The other thing you can do is set the field value, and that's what we are doing here, or set a field as business required. for an instance of that would be checking the revenue, estimated revenue to be over $100,000 and start making additional fields out there like we required because of a more rigorous business process for those large orders. You can also hide and show fields or lock and unlock fields. In other words, make them read-only or enterable. So that's and what this does in the background is actually generate JavaScript. Okay. And although you don't know that, you don't even have to know that. So let's go back and activate this. And then move on to the next group that I want to show you is more code-based. Go back to the plugin right now and auto numbering, and again, this is at the database level. So the illustration here I want to use is we have a off-the-shelf plugin that we use, that we install for our customers. It's just part of the toolkit that we install free. That that will create an ID, like a customer ID, on any entity, on a field within any entity. An example of where you might want to use that is on a if you have engagements, okay, or certificates, for instance, that your organization certifies their customers and to be able to sell their products or what have you, and you issue certifications to your customers, and you want a cert number automatically generated, or RMA numbers, or something like that if you're tracking that in CRM. So in this case, we're going to show an example of an account. Okay. Also, this is important too. If you're integrating with other systems, you need an ID there, and CRM has a built-in field behind the scenes called customer number, or account number, I mean. Typically, we use it to fill in a customer number, but if you're sending accounts over to a website, for instance, you have a synchronization that runs on that, you're going to need to know what accounts are over there, because you may have, Acme Marketing, you may have 4 of those Acme Marketings out there registered in different states, so you can't use the customer name. You need an ID. Microsoft does not fill in the ID automatically for you, so we have a plugin that'll do that. Okay, let's just create a test customer out here, or test account. We'll go ahead and save it. And customers are nice. Customer is a nice one because there's only one field required, or accounts, I mean, are nice. Let's see, I hit save. All right, this is the demo environment, which sometimes is a little slow, the trial environment. So I saved it, and as you see, it automatically popped an A1010 in there. This went on the save. The plugin went out there, our Easy ID plugin, we call it. Went out there, saw that account number on the account entity has a trigger on it, or has been configured for auto numbering, okay, and automatically generated the number. Now let me show you where that came from. Oops, I don't do that. I want to just let me go back to, let's see, the webinar here. This is an account. This is an entity that we added, this custom entity that we added to the system that tracks what entities and then what fields on those entities need a custom ID generated. this case, we said the account number on the account entity. You can define a prefix and then a seed number that it'll use next time it creates an account. So that's just one instance, or that's an example of one of the capabilities that you can use plugins for. Okay, running business logic behind the scenes that's can be of any complexity. The next thing I wanted to show you is the JavaScripting example. And for that, we're going to go over to the go back to the opportunity, or go back to the account. I mean, we'll use Sales Store, and Sales Store has a bunch of additional addresses here, and that they use for ship-to address in this particular case for their warehouse. Now, one of the issues that we run into with customers with CRM is addresses. The country and the state codes aren't validated. These are just text fields where anybody can enter anything, and then you need, if you wanted those validated, you need to validate them in JavaScript or something else. What we've done is we've enhanced the system to make these pick lists, okay, so that they can only enter valid data, and so and the pick lists are ganged together, so when you pick a country, it'll automatically show you the states of provenances within that country. Okay, this was implemented with a custom table, right, that allows us to capture the countries and the states associated with them, and then custom JavaScript, which changes this pick list down here. Okay, as you change the, go down and change the country. Okay, so that's just a JavaScript UI change. Again, this is business logic that all runs on the form at the UI level. And then the last one I wanted to show is an example of a, let's complete this page. We're going to hop over to another system here. And I want to show a custom workflow and some of the use case for that. In this case, we have a customer that has contracts, and their contracts come up for renewal every year or every 2 years. And we put together a workflow here that, first of all, allows them to go out and one of their contract administrators to go out and at the beginning of a month, check and see what contracts are up for renewal, and get a list of those where the contract end date is next month. And then very simply, they can select these and then go run a workflow, okay, for contract renewals. And what this workflow does is follows their process where they send an email. They have an email template for the different contract types, different templates for different contract types. They create an email from that template, and then they also run an SSRS report, which formats an invoice, saves it as a PDF, and then attaches that PDF to the email and sends it out. Now, to do that manually using the system is complex and time-consuming, especially if you have 500 or so contracts that come up for renewal. So let me show you just very quickly. We'll open a contract here, and we'll go over to closed activities, and we see that we've got an email here attached to the contract. And if we open the email, okay, this is what the workflow generated. It pulled the two from the contract. That was the primary contact on the contract. As a subject line in here, this verbiage was from a template, an email template that was set up within CRM. And then there's a PDF. Okay, that we open that up, contains an image of the renewal invoice. So they can take a look at the invoice on the other side and send it, the customer can take a look at the invoice and send it off to accounts payable to be paid. Now this process, as we mentioned before, if you had 500 of those to do manually, okay, you can see how it would save a lot of time. And that's a step that was created in a workflow step that was created that can be used in any workflows, and we can easily change that to run off of different entities too. So let's see, I'm running a little short on time here. So SharePoint, I guess I'll skip that, but take a look at that because it is it's a nice way of sharing documents with CRM users and also users, non-CRM users within the organization. I do want to show you just a quick demo then of our CRM, the Remedy integration. Remedy is a ticketing system that, let's go back up here. Sorry, let's go over here. And the use case here is that customers using Remedy for ticketing. They've been using Remedy many years. They've gotten CRM now in, and they're not using the cases in CRM to manage their call center. The requests, service requests, and incidents, and so on coming to their call center. That's all done in Remedy. But they do want to show, they do want their salespeople to be able to look up cases in CRM. So we have an integration that moves cases in Remedy to CRM. I'm sorry, to moves incidences to cases in CRM, instances of Remedy to cases in CRM. And the salesman, the use case here is one of the salesmen wants to be able to look at accounts, and in particular, he's going to make a call on Kelsey Grammar. This is a school that he's going to call in there and talk to them about their contract. So he wants to look up and see, oh, geez, what cases have they have lately? Well, these were cases that were loaded, through database to database or web service to web service integration. These are Remedy cases loaded into CRM. He looks at this and says, oh, geez, there's a service down one here. I want to check this out a little bit more. I see it's been resolved, but there's not a whole lot of information here. So he has the ability, we added this button up here on top, some JavaScript behind it to, he can just click on that. This will bring Remedy up, bounce him right into the Remedy incident screen, and he can check out and see, okay, check out details of the case before he calls the customer. And so you can be a little more up to speed on and not get blindsided. And here you can see that, oh yeah, it was more detailed. It was a power outage and it was resolved, who resolved it, etc. So that's a user interface to user interface type of integration. That is an extension that is also fairly regularly used.
So that's something that can be done even with other enterprise applications. So if we wanted to pop a UI to UI with, say, PeopleSoft or some other EFB.
Yep. So going back to the presentation now, that's see, we've only got about 5 minutes for Q&A. Let's hop right down to that. And if anyone has any questions, please type them into Erica here, and I will answer them. So,
And again, for those of you on the phone, there is the question panel that you'll see on the right. So any question you have, you can just type in there, and we will address it. It looks like one question just came through, Gary. When would you use a plugin versus a custom workflow? They seem to be similar.
Yeah, they are. In the past, the custom workflows were just run. The custom workflows were for batch processes, like that renewal process that we just showed. Now, the custom workflows and workflows in general actually overlap quite a bit with plugins, since the advantage to a plugin before was that it ran immediately, and plugins are a little more efficient from a code standpoint. They run a little bit quicker, better performance. However, now, and they used to run immediately. Now, workflows that contain custom workflow steps can also run immediately. So there's less difference between the two and when to use one or the other. But in general, if you have a batch process and want to run something iteratively, like we showed with the renewal, you need a workflow, custom workflow. Otherwise, I'd go with a plugin.
Okay, great. Thanks, Gary. Two more actually came in. Are there any restrictions on using business processes?
Yes, there is. On a business process, there's a couple of restrictions or limitations. One is that you can only have 5 entities. A business process flow can only span 5 different entities, which is enough for most business flows that we've encountered so far. There's also a maximum of 30 stages, which should be far and away enough. And you can only have 10 different types or 10 different business flows tied to an entity. So in other words, your sales process, you can have up to 10 of those business flows. There's also an issue that we've run into too, where a limitation where, say you're using a simplified 4-step business process and you all of a sudden in step 1 determine that, gee, this is a $100,000 deal. It's a large deal. We need to use the 6-step process. The salesperson is going to have to manually change that by going up and selecting another process. You cannot automatically have the 4-step process recognize this and switch over to the 6-step process for that opportunity. So there's a couple of things like that that are a couple of limitations that you need to be aware of when you're working with those. And also changing a business process in the middle like that too restarts it from the beginning. So if you were in step 3 of the 4-step business process and you change it to the 6th-step, it would start back at step 1. Okay.
Okay, great, thanks. The last question is, you didn't say much about reporting. What are the options there?
Yes, this is a we didn't have time for a deep dive into anything here. We had to run kind of broad and flat, and reporting kind of got the short straw. Now, reporting options, there's a number, in fact, of them, and one is the report wizard within CRM, which is good for creating lists, dumps of data, and a little bit of totaling and grouping. More industrial strength reporting is done. Most of the reporting is done through SSRS, okay, which again is a developer required. It's somebody that knows the data model of CRM, knows how to write SSRS reports. Other options there that are somewhat overlooked are dashboarding, okay, is a form of reporting. Also is exporting to Excel, which I mentioned earlier, particularly with pivot tables. Okay, a lot of people are able to generate their own reports, sophisticated reports too with that. And now Microsoft has introduced Power BI, which is a BI tool that we're just starting to get familiar with and integrate with CRM for our customers. So there's 4 options there.
Great, thank you. If anybody has any other questions, please ask them now. Otherwise, we are out of time. Doesn't look like anything else is coming through. Okay, well, thank you for joining us today. We really appreciate it. Again, like I said in the beginning, we will be making this presentation, both the recording and the PowerPoint slides, available, so you can either reach out to us or check back on our website and our events page. That should be up by the end of today. So thanks again.